I've had a few questions about the difference between weapon level and weapon proficiency in the First Descendant here recently, so I thought I'd make a video clarifying what the differences are, just in case any of you guys might be confused on those differences as well. So if we take a look at one of these weapons here, you'll notice that there are a few different numbers. You see the 100s here on the side. That is the actual weapon level. Whenever we hover over the weapon, we can see that this one is weapon proficiency level 26. This one is proficiency level 32, and this one is max proficiency at level 40. There is a massive difference between your level and your proficiency, and both of them are very important. So your weapon level is going to determine how much DPS the weapon does. So this Thunder Cage, for example, at level 100 is going to deal a lot more damage than like a level 60 weapon of the same type. The way you increase your weapon level is just by getting a new drop. Now, in the case of an ultimate weapon, they all drop at level 1, and you have to increase that level through weapon transmission. We'll talk about that here in just a second. And you can use weapon transmission on other weapons as well to increase their level. But just know for now that your weapon levels, the way you increase those weapon levels is through weapon drops. Whenever you're running missions, you will get increased weapon levels as you run harder and harder content. Then once you make it to hard mode, you will get level 100 drops every single time you run a mission. So again, your weapon level is what determines the actual strength of that particular weapon. Now, weapon proficiency, on the other hand, is something that is very important as well. Weapon proficiency is going to increase from level 1 to level 40. So weapon level cap is level 100, determines the strength of your weapon. Weapon level proficiency caps at level 40. This does not have any bearing on the actual strength of your weapon, but it inherently does have a bearing on the strength of your account overall. So what happens whenever you utilize a weapon, that's going to increase your proficiency with that particular weapon. Every time you get a level of proficiency, you are going to get what's called mastery rank experience. So mastery rank experience is incredibly important because, as you can see here, every time you level up your mastery rank, that's going to increase your module capacity for your descendants. Your weapon module capacity on your weapons is going to give you additional equipment inventory slots, storage slots, consumable inventory, and some other really good things. So you want to make sure that you are progressing your account by increasing your proficiency with weapons to gain this mastery rank experience. So every single weapon in the game has proficiency level. So at some point in your gameplay, you're going to want to throw on a lot of different weapons and try out new things so that you can at least level the proficiency of those weapons up to 40 so that you can get more mastery rank to get your mastery rank all the way to max. That'll be one of the goals that you're shooting for in the game. So again, just to recap, your actual weapon level is what determines the strength or overall power of the weapon. Your proficiency is going to go towards your mastery rank. So every time you get a level in proficiency, you increase your mastery rank experience. And then whenever you get a level in mastery rank, you can come over here to these prime hands. You can activate them and you can level up your mastery rank to get the increased value from the new mastery rank level. So that is the difference between your level, your weapon level, and your proficiency level that's on that weapon. So we also talked about weapon level transmission a few minutes ago. This is another way to increase the actual level of your weapon. This has nothing to do with the proficiency of your weapon. Remember, again, in order to increase proficiency, you have to actually use that weapon or have that weapon equipped when you're in a group, and you'll gain a little bit of passive experience for that weapon. If you do not have that weapon equipped, or if you've never used it, it will stay at proficiency level 1 forever. You have to actually use the weapon to increase the proficiency. Weapon level transmission is a way to increase the actual level of your weapon and not the proficiency. So for example, we have this level 1 Albion Cavalry gun. If we utilize this in weapon level transmission, we can find a level 100 or any level for that matter, this level 33. We can click on it, and by using some precision phase exchangers, we will immediately increase this weapon level from 1 to 33 or from 1 to 100, depending on which weapon you select. Now, whenever we do this, it's going to destroy this weapon that we are transmuting from, and it's going to utilize one of your precision phase exchangers. You can also do this with just normal weapons. So for example, we can select this weapon level 33, select the 100, and in this case, it's going to destroy this weapon and it's going to utilize a regular phase exchanger. All this does is increase your weapon level to make it more powerful. You're going to have to do this with all of your ultimate weapons that you receive. I really wouldn't recommend doing this with lower level purples, because what happens whenever you have a lower level purple is you also have these bonuses or passives that are tied to these things. So for example, the firearm critical hit rate is 8.7% on this level 33 gun. Well, whenever you use a weapon level transmission on this particular gun, so for example, we'll just go ahead and do this and show you what happens. So if we throw this on here, we upgrade this. So even though this unfinished study is now weapon level 100, you'll notice here that the firearm critical hit rate and all of the other bonuses are now white. They are no longer yellow or purple. That's because those bonuses do not scale with your weapon level whenever you do this weapon level transmission. So you're much better off just finding a level 100 version of the weapon. So if we wanted to increase those bonuses, now that we have done that, we can go back to the workshop and we can do a weapon readjustment. If we do a weapon readjustment and we find that particular weapon right here, we can now look at the values that they can get at max. So the firearm critical hit rate, for example, is firearm critical hit rate at max, now that it's level 100, can go all the way up to 14.3%. So what that means is if we were to readjust this weapon and we rolled firearm critical hit rate from a white now to an ultimate or to a yellow, we would get the maximum firearm critical hit rate, which would now be 14.3%. So in a nutshell, it's not really worth it to upgrade any of the weapons until you get to level 100 items. Once you have level 100 items and you can start to transmute these things into high level or level 100 items, that's whenever you want to start using the weapon level transmission so that you can get those weapons from a lower level to a higher level. Just thought I'd throw that in there to this video so that you guys would understand how that worked as well. But that's going to do it for this one. Overall, weapon level increases the power of your weapon, and then your weapon level proficiency just puts points towards your mastery rank, which then unlocks additional slots, additional module slots for your descendants and your weapons. One other thing before we get out of here, though, just so we can clear this up, your descendant does not have any kind of proficiency tied to it. I've seen that question as well, because people say, well, your weapon level and then you have proficiency. Does the descendant have the same thing? It does not. Your descendant only has a level. Every time you level up your descendant gets a little bit more powerful, and you unlock new abilities or unlock your descendant abilities as you level up. However, your descendant can only level to level 40. It does not level to 100 like your weapons. Your descendant levels to level 40, just like your weapon proficiency. And just like weapon proficiency, every time you level up a descendant, it does count towards your mastery rank. So you're going to want to play with a whole lot of different descendants as well, so that you can increase your mastery rank even further. So that's kind of how that works. But descendants do not have both. They just have a level, and that's it. So once you hit level 40, you're done, unless you decide to throw on a catalyst or something onto your descendant to increase them even further. But you don't have to worry about that for now. You'll be doing that a little bit later on in the game. That would reset the level back down, but that's for another video. But that's it. That'll do it for this one, boys and girls. Thank you guys so much for watching. That is the difference between weapon levels and weapon level proficiency. I hope you guys found this video useful. A little bit of a First Descendant beginner's guide for you. If you did find this video useful, please make sure to like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate that. That'd help me out an absolute ton. Thank you guys for being here. We do stream over on Twitch every single Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 8 o'clock a.m. CST. Would love to see you come hang out over there. We have an absolute blast. But thanks again for being here. I appreciate it. We'll see you in the next one.